Hello, this is Stephen Conradi here. This is one of my vlog videos that I'm going to try to keep doing. Eventually I'll be doing, but... So, sorry, yesterday was my birthday. I just turned 33. And, I currently live here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And T-Town, Tulsa, has dramatically changed. Like, everything is, it's just so surreal to me, the way things have changed and progressed and where we're at in this time period. I recently had taken some time off from my job, and I've noticed that, you know, there used to be a strip mall. Forgive me if I'm eating here, I just got myself some food. But anywho, used to be a strip mall in Brookside, and like tonight I was just feeling like really nostalgic. I know I woke up late in the afternoon and just kind of started cleaning up my apartment and had to do some things, and I was like, well, I need to get out of the apartment for a little while, because yesterday I spent all day here. And I'm like, I don't know if I can spend the rest of the night here. So I got out and I drove to Brookside, and there used to be a place called the Restless Ribbon, which is right across the street from Channel 2 News, the NBC Channel 2. It's our local station here. And in that chain of strip malls, my dad's shop was there, and he was friends with all the local shop owners. There's people who sold, like, you know, clothes or haircuts. I would get my haircut at Lockers, which was like a little barber shop that was there. I don't even know if they're still around or not, but all those strip malls are gone. It's all like Trader Joe's and all this urban commercialism, and it's kind of catered to this niche market of people, like this uber hip young yuppie crowd, and it pisses me off. It just I don't know, for some reason it just bothered me. It made me feel sad. I felt this pain inside of me, and it just made me feel like incredibly nostalgic, because this is the city where I grew up in. I grew up in Brookside. I currently live in Broken Arrow now, but I grew up in Brookside, and everything just seems so surreal. I guess as you get older, things just become more surreal. You long for the old days. You long for the old times. You long for the experiences that you had as a child. You look back on your life and you go, man, I've come this far. You know, what happened? But Tulsa just recently, we recently had the Gathering place. They just finished it up, and it's part of the river, well, Riverside, kind of like expansion, that area, the River Parks expansion, and it provides the community, it provides Tulsa a place where they can go just to do some recreational activities. There's a bunch of stuff that's there. I thought about going there. That's originally kind of my intent. I wanted to go visit it, but the problem with the gathering place is the parking is horrendous, and so people are having to park on these side streets and then just walk a few blocks to go to the gathering place. And it's just stupid. It's stupid how they build something like this, like the gathering place, and yet they won't provide any adequate parking, so people are having to park illegally because there's a huge parking issue down there. Nobody can park their car around, the Brookside, Riverside area, part of town in Tulsa. So there's no issue. There's an issue to that. So hopefully, City of Tulsa would get off their asses and do something about that, But I recently went down the street. I drove down the street where I grew up. And I grew up in these tiny duplex houses. And at the very corner, my side of the street that I remember, there's like a bunch of them. There's two other, duplexes, and then they demolished those two. So there's a lot less than what there were previously on my side of the street where I used to live. And it was so surreal to me because I got out of my car and I looked around and I stood on the porch of where I used to live, and I knocked on the door of the person living there, and I didn't get any response. I think they're probably gone off. Maybe they were at the gathering place. I don't know. But I knocked on the door. I didn't get a response, and I just walked around, and then I saw this old lady. She's walking back to her house, and I asked her, it's like, how long have you been living here? She said 5 years, and I thought she'd lived here for like forever. Because I told her, I said I grew up in this area. I used to live here. I live in Broken Arrow now. I work for the government, work postal service. Well, then she had to go back home because it was getting dark. So, but it's just like you go through your life, and sometimes maybe you don't really treasure. Maybe you haven't really been able to treasure those moments as a child. It's just like you live your life, and then as you get older, you get nostalgic, and then you look back on your life and you go, remember when, remember this, remember that. And it kind of made me feel sad, but at the same time, well, I'm happy. I'm getting old. I know I'm getting older. We all grow old at some point, and people grow old and then they pass on. But I think whenever you're a child and you have a childhood, you tend to forget how precious childhood is, and how detrimental having a positive childhood can be to a person. I've had a positive childhood, but yeah, there are some things that I think when I was a kid, I I grew up way too fast. I tried to grow up way too fast. I did a lot of stupid stuff that a normal kid would not do. You know, I chased women around, I tried to get girlfriends or whatever. It was stupid. I was an idiot. You know, because I for some reason I wanted to be older. I've always had kind of this outlook in life of me being an older soul, and you know, I am an old soul. I've always been this way. I never played with toys as a child. I never enjoyed them. Never saw the point of them, didn't understand it, didn't care. It was pointless to me. It was stupid. Never played with toys as a kid. I hated it. And so, like, my toys became musical instruments or recording gear or sound gear or video gear or whatever. I was always interested in that. Records, I was big into records, guitars, everything. And that's how I've always been in my life. I was a really unique child. Rather unique child because I had such an adult perspective on my life. But yet I was still a child. Now that I'm older, things have changed. And I think that's what happens when you get old. You know, you tend to not understand certain things. Things change around you. You don't understand what goes on. You don't understand why people act out a certain way that they do, or why society has changed in this way or that way. I think it's just all a matter of perspective and attempting to adjust to whatever comes along. That's what I've learned. And it kind of makes me feel appreciative of my life. Which I am. I'm deeply appreciative of where I'm at now in my life. I'm pretty comfortable. I'm pretty content where I'm at. I'm pretty comfortable with myself. But, you know, sometimes I look back on my life and I go, well, what could I have done to change my attitude? You know, I could have changed my attitude, my perspective. What could I have done to say, you know, okay, well, they told me, you know, when I was playing guitar, the guitar teacher told me, and had me try to play this little piece of sheet music, and I didn't even care for the song because I wanted to, like, automatically shred, thinking I could do that. Forgive me, my food's getting cold. I may have to stop this video. But so good. But yeah, you know, you get older, and like, I'm thinking, like, about my childhood, and I think about, like, what could I have done to change? You know, whenever they put that sheet music in front of me and they say, play Mary Had a Little Lamb, I should have been like, older me would have been like, hey, play that. Learn how to play that song. Because that will determine where you will be at musically down the line as you get older. Or, hey, practice this guitar part. And if I was my parents and me getting into school, and then they say, well, Steven has attention deficit disorder, and you need to put him on Ritalin, I would have told them no. I'm not putting my child on that. Because that really screwed me up. I mean, it made me... It limited my creativity. Because I'm a highly creative individual. And I kind of feel like, you know, being on Ritalin, and I'm going off on a tangent here, being on Ritalin really kind of screwed me up. It screwed me up emotionally. I think it screwed me up physically. And it made me clam up, because when I was a child, before I entered into, you know, elementary school or primary school or what have you, I was a very proactive, outgoing, sociable kid. Like, if you met 4-year-old me, you know, when I was a kid, before I started getting into school, you would have been like, man, this kid is awesome. He's got a passion for music. He knows what he wants in life automatically. And the educational system, like the U.S. educational system, really just fucked everything up for me. So, fuck you, educational system of America. Thanks a lot. But, anywho, I know I probably shouldn't blame them for it, but I do. But if I hadn't been on Ritalin, you know, I probably would have been more creative in my thinking. I wouldn't have been able to pay attention in class. It would have been really, you know, it'd been more difficult for me to study. I mean, it did sort of help me study a bit, but it just had some more negative. I felt like it had more negative effects on me than positive. It wasn't right. But, you know, anywho, I just thought I'd just go on this rant. This is the 5th of October, 2018. Shit. This year has flown by like nobody's business. It's so ridiculous. I think I'm going to continue. I'm going to continue to definitely do these blog videos. Just daily blogs. I don't know if anybody really gives a shit about what I'm posting here, but if you do, you can subscribe to my channel. I'm going to try to make more posts as I go along. But other than that, hope you have a great night, and catch you later. Peace.